I know. There's gonna be all types of Bears fans in the comments hating on me for what I say in this video. Because I know so many Bears fans are just caught up in a state of euphoria and delirium, and I get it. This organization traditionally sucks. You've mostly seen crappy, bad, mediocre Hallis Hall football. So every once in a while, when you get a fleeting glimmer of hope, of brightness, you want to latch onto it and suckle from that teat for every single ounce of milk that you possibly can get it. I get it. I do. There's a lot of you that are going to rage in the comments. I've been struggling with this team for many more years than you have, believe me. And for some of you, similar length of time or even longer. So God, other than 85, you've experienced plenty of crappiness, plenty of mediocrity, plenty of absolute, complete, total Hallis Hall suckage. And you look at the way this year has started. Detroit's not good. Minnesota stinks. You look at the way the NFC is shaking out. Bears fans have reason, what they feel like, for hope and optimism. There's an excitement there, a buzz there. Because for a team that had really low expectations coming into the season, all of a sudden it seems like the seas are parting a little bit. The NFC East is god-awful. You're only going to have one playoff team for that division. You know, the NFC West certainly looks like a meat grinder, but the South is not exactly top-notch. So Bears fans are looking at it and saying, hey, we're 3-0. No matter who we beat, wins are wins, and we got 3 of them. And typically 10 wins most years will get you into the playoffs. In an expanded playoff format, you might only need 9. So you're arguing that you're 30 to 33.3% of the way there. I get it. That logic in and of itself is sensible. And you're looking at the landscape and you're saying they could get to the playoffs this year. Which of course more so just speaks to the experience of being a Bears fan and the mediocrity we've been exposed to over the years, the McCaskey way, if you will. But I'm seeing all these Bears fans are all excited because the Bears are 3-0. They're tied for first in the NFC North. They look like they're heading towards the playoffs. And now all of a sudden, this past Sunday against Atlanta, the move was finally made. Mitch Trubisky was benched, and in comes Nick Foles. And for a team that was down 26-10 in the fourth quarter, there is no question the offense looked different. There was a spark there. And Nick Foles did enough, made enough big throws, enough big plays. The offense just had a different feeling to it. And the Bears came back and won that game. And now Nick Foles obviously is the anointed starter for the here and going forward, which finds a lot of Bears fans even more excited. They're like, this is exactly why competition was brought in. This is exactly why Foles was brought in, you betcha. I didn't want to admit before that Trubisky was bad because I had to hold on to that feeling of hope that he didn't absolutely suck. But now that they made the call, it feels like I've been set free by Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. Hesta Pine, hallelujah! Nick Foles is the man. He's a former Super Bowl MVP. He will take the Bears back to the promised land and skip and whoop-de-woo and all that other hot garbage. And again, I get it. As a Bears fan, you don't have a lot to celebrate. You don't. So when you feel like you get something close to being worthy of celebrating, you want to celebrate. But let's be clear. When it comes to Nick Foles being named the starter and now being the guy for Chicago, there is absolutely, positively nothing to celebrate here. There just isn't. You can call me negative, you can call me cynical, you can call me whatever the hell you want. I will just choose to live in the land of reality. And other Bears fans, if you so choose, because it makes you happy, more power to you, you can continue to live in your land of make-believe. But think about what this means and what this represents. This means that the guy that was taken number 2 overall in the 2017 draft is officially, once and for all, a bust. You already should have known he was a bust. You should have already known long ago that he sucked. But you now officially have confirmation. He's not even the starting quarterback going into the 4th game of his 4th season. because he just got benched. Like, what's to celebrate about that? The most exciting thing a team could ever do in an NFL draft is find that young franchise quarterback that they can build the hopes of their franchise, their city around for the next 10, 15 to 20 years. And the Chicago Bears historically have time and again failed to be able to do that. There are very few organizations. There are certainly some that can give them a run for their money, absolutely. But there are certainly very few organizations that have such an abject record of total and complete failure at the quarterback position in modern football like the Chicago Bears do. You even think about like one stat that just truly illustrates it. There's only one team in the NFL that's never had a 4,000-yard passer, and that is, of course, the Bears. So now, the kid that was supposed to be the guy, even if you look past the Mahomes and Watson stuff from the 2017 draft, just Trubisky in his own boat. This is the guy you not only drafted number 2 overall, but traded up from 3 to 2 to get, so you gave up other draft pick capital and swung and missed horribly bad. Horribly badly. Like, all-time bust type of stuff here. Is it Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell level of bust? No. Is it Blake Bortles level of bust? Yes, absolutely. But even then, I would say, how dare I insult Blake Bortles, because at least he had a 4,000-yard passing season, and at least he won a couple of playoff games and got himself a second contract from the team that drafted him. Trubisky, for all intents and purposes, as it sits right now, is not going to do that. So the guy that was supposed to be the guy is not going to be the guy, which means that he's not the long-term answer at the position that the Bears have lacked for generations. Meanwhile, the team has went to a guy that was so unimpressive in training camp that he didn't even beat out said bust. Foles didn't even beat him out. And I'm sure Nagy was looking for any excuse. It was close, and when it's close, you got to go with Trubisky. That means that Foles wasn't even that great in training camp. And now we're supposed to be excited about this. There's a reason the Jacksonville Jaguars traded him away after one season in favor of a former 6th-round pick in Gardner Minshew. Now, these was of Nick Foles that they intentionally overpaid to bring in. And after 1 year said, we want to go in a different direction. This is the guy that we're supposed to be excited about. And even let's humor you for a second. And let's say, okay, he does an adequate job. That would be so typical of Bears fans to accept adequacy and mediocrity. Let's say the team wins 10 games, maybe 11. I mean, let's be realistic. You really think they're beating the Packers in that division? Oh, you reach in there. Like, I'm sorry. Mid-30s Aaron Rodgers versus Nick Foles. Who the hell do you think is better? It's not close. Come on now. So, you're going to win 10, 11 games, make the wild card round, lose in the wild card round, or maybe you get dumb lucky and you win the wild card game and then you get smoked in the divisional round. Then what do you got? You've got a no-win season because you found out Trubisky ain't the guy, so the guy you invested the number 2 overall pick on ain't that dude, which is a 3rd straight top 10 pick from that 2015 to 2017 range that never became that type of dude, never became a big-time star, and is no longer on the team when you think about Kevin White to Leonard Floyd and now Mitchell Trubisky. That's not a good sign. Teams with that kind of piss-poor record in the first round traditionally struggle, and general managers who orchestrate those types of draft histories typically get fired. But if the Bears go on and win 10 or 11 games and make the playoffs with Nick Foles, you still don't have your long-term answer at quarterback. You still don't even know if Foles is your guy in 2021, but if they do make the playoffs, you're possibly talking about them extending him, which exacerbates the period of mediocrity, all the while leading to a scenario where Ted Phillips doesn't get fired, he is retained, and probably gets an extension. You're certainly looking at a situation where if they made the playoffs for a second time in 3 years, based off of the McCaskey way, Ryan Pace is certainly getting an extension, and Matt Nagy is getting a contract extension. For what? A couple of wild card playoff appearances? These are the things that we get excited for? These are the indications of just how low the standards have dropped when it comes to Bears fans and the Hallis Hall organization? Really? That's something to celebrate? No, this should be an indictment on so many things involving this organization. There were 2 stud quarterbacks in that 2017 draft. This organization idiotically took one of the ones that wasn't and traded up to do so and took that guy in front of those other 2 stud quarterbacks. Now, you're thinking long-term. You still don't have the long-term guy. Even if Foles plays at an adequate level in 2020, you don't have the long-term guy. You don't have that franchise-changing quarterback to build the entire organization around. And now you're possibly looking at allowing Ryan Pace to make that decision a second time when he screwed it up so brutally bad the first time. What in the hell has Ryan Pace done to deserve that level of benefit of the doubt? How is this exciting? Because the team is 3-0, who gives a shit? And maybe this is just me thinking bigger picture and long term and just being realistic and, again, grounded in reality. But Trubisky getting benched is nothing to celebrate, especially when Foles, I'm sure, inevitably gets some type of injury, misses some type of action. Then you got to go back to Trubisky, who already was shaky in confidence anyways. Now he's been benched. Now you got to throw him back in there. How shot is his confidence going to be, and how bad is he going to be when he has to inevitably take the spot back in the starting lineup? But even if he doesn't, like, you're rooting for a cast-off guy in Nick Foles for what? To get to the wild card round? Maybe hope you can win one playoff game and get to the divisional round? Like, it's one thing that the McCaskey way has permeated through that organization, and that they're okay with that. They accept that. That comes from Virginia. I get that. But Bears fans, like, can we have some damn standards, please? Can we not get so easily suckered in by this crap? Can we not allow the bar to be set so low that even just enjoying a small modicum of success gets us so giggly tits and excited to where we lose all of our damn senses? The guy that was supposed to be the face of the franchise ain't it. But now you go to Foles, potentially leads to a situation that the guy who chose the guy that proved he clearly isn't the long-term answer at the quarterback position might be in the position to pick the next guy, exacerbating the problem even longer. All the while with the draft history, especially on those marquee picks, that is not great. Like, all of these different things. Nagy maybe is one conversation, like how much are you really going to succeed with Mitchell Trubisky? I get that. Like, you can have a separate conversation. But all these people that are ball-washing Ryan Pace, he's been in charge 5+ seasons now. There's 1 playoff appearance. One divisional title, 1 playoff appearance, 1 playoff game loss. At least for the Bears, when you go back in history and you talk about 2001, 2005 under Angelo, at least Angelo in his first 5 years, they had 2 division titles, 2 playoff appearances. And in year 6 was the season they went to the Super Bowl with Turd Ferguson Rex Grossman as their damn starting quarterback. Pace doesn't even measure up to Ayatollah Angelo's standard. And you clowns think that he deserves all this love, admiration, and respect? Well, look what he did. It took him 4 years to rebuild. Other more competent general managers and organizations can do it in 2 to 3, and in some types of cases, 1. Same guy that hired John Fox. Same guy that signed Mike Glennon. Same guy that drafted Mitchell Trubisky. You want those 10 or 11 wins in that wild card appearance so bad you can taste it. But do you really like the aftertaste that this is going to leave for this organization long term? Hell no! Full starting is nothing to celebrate. So party all you want to, but eventually, just like everything else involving the Bears, you're just going to be eating a shit sandwich at the end of the day. Give me a break.